So we'll now move on to the psychological well-being in relation to fatigue. So fatigue can feel like you've been washed up at sea. It can be a battering experience. Everything feels like an effort. So from diagnosis through to treatment, it can feel like a really battering experience, both physically as well as emotionally. So lots of things that we used to take for granted now take so much of your time and your effort and your energy to do the same things that you used to be able to do. You may find at times that you've lost your enthusiasm for things. You feel quite flat, you feel quite numb to things, and this is all a really, really normal and common experience. There's a lot of shock and fear and uncertainty in a diagnosis of cancer and living with cancer. Worry is where thoughts go round and round in the mind, and you can't get unstuck from them. They kind of feel like they're really pulling you in. They're often linked to physical feelings of anxiety and agitation as well. So worry can take up a lot of time and it can feel exhausting. You may get quite frustrated and you may get quite angry with your fatigue, and it may feel quite embarrassing when you want to just get on with your life and you feel that people are judging you for not being able to cope or something like that. So it can feel really frustrating, lots of worry and agitation that come in with experiencing fatigue. You may also worry about what the future brings, how long it's going to last, are things going to get better, which is very normal and understandable for you to be thinking and feeling. Going over thoughts and worries in your mind can create and even make worse the feelings of anxiety and stress. Sometimes there's a quick solution, or you may think there's a quick solution to just push them away, get rid of them, move on from them. But you may notice they just keep coming back. They keep arriving, those worries, those thoughts keep coming back to you. So avoiding things that you're scared of or you're feeling anxious about may make your anxiety worse. So managing these thoughts and managing these feelings can really help when it comes to managing your fatigue and your energy levels. It's really understandable that difficult thoughts and feelings show up. Of course they will, and it can feel really unpleasant when they do as well. We know that if we try and get rid of them, they keep coming back, and that's what tends to happen as a pattern. So how do we respond differently to them? How do we respond in a different way to these thoughts and feelings that keep showing up? How do we respond differently to these thoughts and feelings that keep coming up so that these thoughts have less of an impact on us? They feel less feelings of being overwhelmed, and we're more able to stick with being in the moment and experiencing what our moment is. When worries are really in your face and they feel really overwhelming, it's really unpleasant, really hard to connect with the moment and the reality of what you're living. So when there's an understandable thing of trying to get rid of them, it's really tiring and it's really frustrating to keep doing this, keep going round in this way. So focusing on the negative thoughts and feelings, and they're still getting in the way of you doing what you want to do and living your life in the way that you want to live it. So a different way of responding to thoughts and feelings as they're coming up is taking that observer view, looking at them rather than being in them. So noticing and allowing them to be there means that we can have a different relationship with them. They're not all-encompassing, they're not overwhelming. They are there, they're sat with us, and we can work with it in a different way. So it doesn't mean that we're getting rid of them. Sadly, it's not that easy, but it's about how we relate to them differently, allowing them to be there next to us rather than consumed in our face and always on top of us. This can hopefully allow them to feel a little less overwhelming for you. Let me introduce you to a metaphor. So imagine that the situation you're in is like being in a tug of war with a monster. It's big, it's ugly, it's strong. You're pulling away, tugging at it, trying to win the fight. You notice that next to you, underneath you, is a huge pit, this bottomless pit. You can't see the bottom. You know that if you fall, it's going to be a long way down. So what you do to try and win the fight is you just keep pulling, tugging and tugging away. But what the monster does is keep pulling back, and you get closer and closer to the edge of that pit. The hardest thing to see is that our job here is not to win the tug of war, it's to drop the rope. It's to drop the struggle. It doesn't mean that the monster goes away, it's still there, but we drop the fight and the exhaustion that goes with tugging with it. Another way of thinking about this approach is thinking about trains coming and going, passing in front of you as you stand on a platform in the station. So when standing on the platform edge, sometimes there's announcements that an express train is going to come past. It's going to be quick, it's going to be fast, stand back from the line. And you notice this huge gush of wind that kind of pushes you back as it goes in front of you. You don't want to jump on that train. But that's sometimes what the thoughts feel like. We feel like we need to get on them, but we're going to be taken to a destination that we don't want to go to. So what can we do instead? We can step back, we can take that observer position, watch the train as it goes past. We don't have to jump onto it. So we can notice those thoughts and those feelings of the train coming past instead of jumping on that thought train instead. Other things that can be helpful are around greater awareness of what thoughts and feelings are coming in and whether they increase your anxiety levels. So there may be thoughts around, I can't do this, or what if someone thinks I'm useless, or what if I fail? So you might want to challenge some of those thoughts. What would you say to a friend in your situation? Do you really know what people are thinking? So have a think about how those thoughts are pulling you around and having a greater awareness to the anxiety that it can lead to, challenging some of those thoughts as they come up. Another thing that can be helpful is weighing up whether thoughts are helpful or unhelpful. So you might want to decide on where you want your focus to be on. If you want it to be on a focus that's taking you off somewhere that's unhelpful, or whether you want it to be on something that is helpful, strategies, things that you can put your attention to that are going to help you to manage your fatigue and live a life that you want to be living. You can also write your thoughts down. So a bit like what we said in the sleep section of writing thoughts down at night, you can also do that during the day. So whenever you feel like you're getting overwhelmed with things, write them down. They can feel really expressive and as a way of getting out of the mind and dealing with them, working with them in a different way. Notice as those thoughts that you're writing down, are they things that you can change? Are there things that you can put a solution to? So do you have a sense of control over them? Or are they things that you can't control, things that you're not able to change in any way? And notice the time that they're coming in. So again, if it is late at night, say to yourself, this isn't the time to think about this. Maybe allocating some worry time, again, writing it down so you can come back to it if you need to. And finally, relaxation. Relaxation is really important for managing fatigue generally, but also managing our mood and understanding our emotions and how they're pulling us around as well. So relaxation is allowing that physical and mental tension to release. And tension is the body's natural way of responding to threat. So that natural threat and survival mechanism that's kicked off when something doesn't feel right. So there are various ways to achieve relaxation. So it may be that you're doing some breathing exercises, and breath control is quite a common, and there's lots of ways that you can do breathing exercises to help you to relax. But there can also be lots of other things that you can do. So that might be meditation, that might be Tai Chi, that might be yoga, it might be listening to music. Whatever feels right for you, try and get on board with some of that relaxation as much as you can. And maybe even try something new, because you never know, it might work. It might have a relaxating effect. So think about your relaxation. If you are continuing to struggle with fatigue, please in the first instance talk to your key worker or your specialist nurse for any further support. They can also refer you to the Haematology Psychology Service if you're really struggling with the emotional and psychological effects of fatigue as well. I hope you found this helpful, and thank you very much for listening.